right, everyone. Welcome back.
Can't be talking about the Lions.
Seems to be the story of the week.
Sure does.
Everybody, welcome back to Detroit Sports Flow here with BK.
And Speaks.
This week we will be recapping the Detroit Lions 17-30 loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. On today's episode, we will go into the Detroit Lions game plan, talk a little bit about how Dan Campbell had them set up and the way we were unable to execute exactly what we were trying to do. Then we will go into Kansas City getting a little bit of home cooking here.
Boy, did they ever.
The flags were pretty ridiculous, or the lack thereof flags on the Chiefs, and then also the flags that were called on the Lions were a bit egregious, so we will dive into that a little bit more. Then we will dive into the missed opportunities that the Detroit Lions had in order to overcome those type of flags. Yep. We'll get into that a little bit. Next, we will then dive into Sam LaPorta getting more involved in the offense. I talked about Sam LaPorta.
You predicted this
a little bit a couple weeks ago and how he was starting to get acclimated a little bit more. We're seeing that take place, so we'll get into that a little bit more. Then we'll talk about Dan Skipper, the backup left tackle, coming in and playing very well for us in the absence of Taylor Decker. We'll get into him a little bit more. Then we'll talk about Jared Goff, handling the blitzes coming at him, controlling the offense in a way where he's able to get things done, get everybody in the right spots for those blitz packages. But we'll get into that a little bit. Then we're going to talk about our guy Jameson Williams.
Waymo, baby.
Jameson Williams finally started to get a little bit more targets in this week's game. Played a huge factor for us early on. Would have liked to see it a little bit more as the game progressed.
Seems to be a common trend. We get him involved early on and then kind of fades out as the game goes on.
Yeah, it's been the case the last couple weeks.
Yep.
But we'll get into that a little bit more. And then finally we'll get into our report cards for the coaches and then also our predictions for this week's big matchup on Primetime against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Let's get into it, BK.
Speaks, let's get into the game plan a little bit here and what Dan Campbell kind of envisioned with this matchup. I know he was very vocal about it before the game, that he said that the offense really kind of needs to score 30 in this game for us to have a shot. I think he knew how shorthanded we were on defense, especially in the secondary with all the injuries we're dealing with at the corner spot. And he was right. I mean,
he was.
At the end of the day, Kansas City scores 30. If we end up scoring 30, we're right in the thing and we might even win it. And it was just not the result we were looking for with the missed opportunities offensively, and that really led to the loss here.
Yeah, it led to the loss, and we changed things up a little bit with how we usually go about our game plan. We usually defer if we win the coin toss. This time we elected to receive because we knew we were on the road. We wanted to get the boys going. We wanted to score first, and we thought we scored 7 points first, but evidently that wasn't 7 points after they went to New York and reversed the call on us after our whole offensive team was on the sideline.
Yeah, that was just crazy to me. I've never seen a flag thrown after a play from a review, and that changes the whole game here, Space.
It changes the whole complexity of the game. You score 7 right there opposed to 3. You put the pressure on Kansas City, and you have Goff scoring the touchdown. Like that, Montgomery going 1 for 1 again on another TD pass. That puts all the pressure on Kansas City, yet they reverse it. They say that Goff needed to stop when he was in motion. He was never under center. He tapped Glasgow on the butt, and that was it. But the cadence, it still doesn't make sense to me.
No, it will never make sense to me because I've never seen a flag thrown after a review. Completely changes the game. You're right. We have a 9-minute drive on that opening possession where we receive, and then we don't get 7 there. Instead, we get 3. They go down and score a touchdown. Changes the whole game.
Everything.
Speaks, we got to talk about some of this home cooking that the Kansas City Chiefs were getting in this game.
Right out of Mama's kitchen,
just
my goodness.
Unbelievable. 0 penalties called on them for the entire game. Just a joke with the way it was handled. There was hold calls happening for the Lions all over the place, and it just didn't make any sense to me. Space.
Yeah, you mentioned 0 penalties. This is the first time that there's been 0 penalties in a game since Week 18 of the 2023 season. On top of that, since 2018, there have been 14 teams with 0 penalties. 3 of those have been, who else? Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you know, BK?
Shocker. Mahomes getting calls. Who would have thought? But the one
Collinsworth is all.
Yeah, the whole time. But you look at it, too, and there's some specific plays here that really stood out to me. The first one is Kelsey dropped that one pass that they called a completion. I don't know how that's a catch, Speaks.
Me neither.
He uses the ground to trap it.
If any of us know what a catch is and what a catch isn't, the Calvin Johnson's rule, that was not a catch. He didn't complete the process, but that's Taylor Swift's fiance, buddy, so that's a catch now.
Yeah, he's going to get love, and he gets love on this one, too. The pass interference call on Travis Kelce towards the end of the half there where they were driving. He throws his hands up, and the flag immediately comes.
And that would have been a 4th down play because that was a 3rd down play, so then they would have had to either punt or kick a very long field goal there. Changes the complexity of the game with that one.
The whole thing, yep. And then you get into, the play that we were talking about a little bit earlier with the Jared Goff touchdown reception, which is very weird to say. But with that play, Chris Jones was lined up offsides, their start offensive tackle. Offsides that should have negated our penalty on our side.
Replay of down.
And this the replay of down there. And then Branch obviously gets blocked in the back here at the end of the game from Juju Smith-Schuster. No call. Then the whole thing escalates with Brian Branch getting into the fight with Juju Smith-Schuster after the game. It is leading to him having a 1-game suspension.
It's going to hurt us.
It hurts us bad with Kirby Joseph being out with the knee injury this week, too.
Yeah.
So we are lacking a lot of depth in our secondary. It sounds like Rocky Sin, one of our starting corners, is going to move back to safety for this week. And then they brought on Kendall Fuller, a 10-year veteran, to kind of play that role where he is temporarily a starting corner for us. I think you'll see him get some time.
And Trey Flowers will obviously have a lot more playing time too, with Branch and Kirby being out. So, and then our 2 starting corners being out. So we got some work cut out for us against Baker Mayfield. He's having a hell of a season so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like Campbell is looking at the possibility of playing a lot of 4 linebacker sets with not having his 2 starting safety. So it'll be very interesting to see how we navigate around that this week.
BK, let's get into the missed opportunities. I still think we had a very good chance to win this game, even with the play calls and the penalties not going our way. We had chances to win this. St. Brown's missed catch. That was the biggest play of the game, in my opinion. Fourth down and 3 there, 4th down and 2. Throws a little slant. It was a little wobbly. More than Goff would have liked it, but it was right where St. Brown could have caught it, and St. Brown holds himself to a higher standard. He should have got that.
Yeah, and you look at that play, too. It's at the end of the first half.
Yep.
Lions are driving down. We're up 10-7 at that time. He drops that pass. We then have to punt. Mahomes gets the ball. They end up driving down the field with the Travis Kelce pass interference, giving them a very good opportunity.
Giving them the lead going into halftime.
Gives them the lead going into half, and then they get the ball,
yep,
which ends up changing the entire game. That was a big one to me. Another one that was a big one to me was Aiden Hutchinson forcing that fumble when Kansas City's driving. They're on our 30, about to get into the red zone, and Hutch ends up swatting the ball out of Mahomes'
hands. 4 straight games we've only recovered 1 of his. It's just unreal. It's just some bad bounces.
Just bad bounces, but we don't get on top of that. They end up scoring. That changes a lot there, too. The other one is a missed block from Isaac Tesla on a 3rd and 11 that we had in the third quarter.
He has to be in better position there. That killed us. J-Mo could have taken that 10 yards. Instead, we're forced to punt.
Even if he gets 7, we're probably going for it with where we were at in the game and what our field position was. You just can't go for it on 4th and 11 there, so that changes everything there. And then, obviously, the pass interference call on Travis Kelce changed a lot on that first half, end of the first half drive there, where they end up getting the touchdown. Just, mistakes that can't happen, and they ended up costing us here.
It cost us the game.
Yep.
BK, why don't you get into your boy LaPorta? You called this coming in.
Sam LaPorta. He's getting going, man. I was telling you, we're trying to get him a little bit more involved in the offense. This week, he ends up with 5 catches for 55 yards and a touchdown. And that touchdown was sweet, Speaks. He ends up grabbing that thing one-handed and tiptoeing on those sidelines. You could tell Goff didn't even expect him to catch that ball.
No.
He was trying to throw it out of the back of the end zone.
I mean, what a heck of a catch. He got mossed, man. What a play by LaPorta. You love to see it. Got both the tiptoes in. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, and he just continues to do it, right?
The
last couple of weeks, we now have 10 catches for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns for Sam LaPorta.
Really excelling.
Yep, he's become, a big red zone threat for us and one of the safety nets for Goff in this offense. It really starts to open more things up as we see our offensive line get a little bit more healthy. I think you're going to see this offense continue to soar, and LaPorta is going to be a big piece of that.
LaPorta is going to be a huge piece for that. He is very integral in what we do, and it's really good to see him get going after the injury-riddled season last year. So this is big for us going into a gauntlet and the bye week after this Tampa Bay game. It doesn't get any easier after the bye week.
No, this schedule's brutal, and we're going to have all hands on deck. LaPorta is going to have to be one of those big pieces for us as we have Jameson Williams, St. Brown at the wide receiver spot, Gibbs, Montgomery. Obviously, you got a lot of talent there on offense, but you got to have a lot of talent on offense with how good these defenses are here in the NFL.
Yeah, and we need to get Khalif Raymond back nice and healthy. He was suited up, but I noticed he didn't get a lot of playing time out there. You talked about the Tesla missed block. I think Khalif would have made that block. Right. I'm not a fan of the play call there. Did not throwing it past the sticks on 3rd down, but we'll talk about that with our report cards here a little bit later.
Speaks, we got to give a little bit of love here to our guy Dan Skipper.
Woo!
Dan Skipper coming in off of the practice squad to a starting role this week with Taylor Decker being out, our starting left tackle, still not recovered from that injury. We had Manu start
put on the IR.
Yep, but then he gets put on the IR this week.
They can't catch a break.
Yeah, it's the injuries again. It's the same thing we dealt with last year. But on top of that, I mean, Skip, I got to give him credit. He comes back and he plays an outstanding game for us at that left tackle spot in a pinch, but he ends up giving up 0 pressures through 3 quarters there and was very efficient in the running attack as well.
Very, very efficient in the running attack. Oh, faithful Dan Skipper, you can plug him in, next man up. He is the next man up on our team. He's always coming in, making the plays he needs to make. You can always count on Dan. If it's not on the offensive line, he'll catch a ball for you too.
Yeah, and he'll report as eligible.
You're damn right he will. He's never making that mistake again.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like one of those things with Skipper here where he comes in and you know that he knows the offensive system. And he knows the communication with the offensive line, and I think that was a main key to his success this week. But, it's never easy playing left tackle in the league, and to step in from a practice squad and be in a starting role is extremely difficult. All the credit in the world to Skip for stepping up here.
Well, you mentioned that we have the utmost confidence. If you looked at a lot of our running plays, we were running on the left side of our offensive line. That Gibbs long run that we had. I mean, we trust Skip to make the right decisions and do what he's supposed to do, and he always comes through for us in the clutch, man. Skip, you're my boy. We love you here in Detroit, baby.
Yeah, I think they were running left more to avoid Chris Jones.
Well, there's that too.
That plays a factor, but Skip was a big piece to us having a lot of success in the running attack this week, and also, having that passing attack and that pass protection for a Goff.
Yeah, when a guy lines up off sides, I'd run the other way too.
Yeah, exactly. One thing we got to talk about here, Speaks, is just how good Jared Goff has been playing for us. I know that you had him as your player of the week last week. Why don't you get into it?
Yeah, Goff went 23 for 29 with 2 TDs. He had a QBR of 118.8. That is a great QBR. I still think he leads the league in completion percentage, and he had 2 TDs this week, like I already mentioned, so I don't think Baker Mayfield caught him, but he is just dialing everything up. He only got sacked once with 8 pressures. I mean, the way he's moving up in the pocket, BK, and he had 1 rush for 7 yards. He looked like he was on the Rams running the ball again. I mean, I saw a little pep in the step. I liked it.
He's multidimensional. That's what people forget about Jared Goff here. But you're right. I mean, the way he's navigating the pocket, the way he's not getting sacked in a lot of these games, and putting his receivers in a spot where they can succeed, not throwing those balls where they're hospital balls to his guys. But on top of that, not taking big shots and on those sacks, that's a big deal. Jared Goff is controlling the tempo. He's completing almost every one of his passes. I mean, you don't see guys just missing 6 passes on 29 passes in the league. Goff's been spectacular. He's going to continue to grow as this offensive line keeps, getting healthier and getting healthier. But I've loved what I've seen out of him the first 6 weeks.
I couldn't agree with you more, BK. The way he's controlling the line of scrimmage, the way he is audibling plays, that is the correct decision. His intelligence is just through the roof with this offense, and Dan Campbell even said when his career's done as a starting quarterback, he can see Jared Goff being a great offensive coordinator, a head coach in this league, because his intelligence is just through the roof.
Yeah, calm, cool, and collected back there.
Yep.
All right, Speaks, let's get into this guy we've been talking about the last couple of weeks here.
Waymo.
Why don't you talk about our boy J-Mo a little bit? Jameson Williams, the wide receiver here.
The Flash. We got him involved nice and early. He had 6 receptions for 66 yards and a TD. He bounced off those guys like a pinball. He looked strong, BK. I love that catch, and I like the little celebration. Waymo did his thing. I just wish we wouldn't fade away from him later in the game, especially when we're down and we need scores. We keep getting him involved early and often, and then we seem to stray away. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and you're upset about it, and I'm upset about it because we see what Jameson Williams does when he has the ball in his hands.
He makes plays.
On that touchdown catch like you're talking about, he gets hit at the 6-yard line, ends up running through multiple Kansas City defenders in order to get into the end zone there. That effort, that ability, that speed is not common in the NFL. And that's why it's one of those things where with him, you have to get him the ball because he has that big play threat every time he touches it.
He has that big play threat just like Deshaun Jackson did in his Philly days. He has that kind of talent. They're few and far between, and they're not growing on trees. So let's get Waymo involved that much more. I want 2 TDs. I want 3 TDs. He's more incapable of this. And then I got a PSA for Dan Campbell. Can we get someone else to return the darn kicks? Craig Reynolds is not the guy. He's not the guy. He doesn't have the speed. He can't do it. Get Waymo back there. If you're not going to get him involved on the offensive side of the ball, get him involved in the special teams. We need some speed.
On the plus side, and I agree with you, I think he would add an element to that special teams, but on the plus side, that touchdown catch wasn't in route. We saw basically Jameson Williams only on streaks last year in the offense. You're starting to see him get implemented a little bit more. I'm excited to see what comes here the rest of the season.
As am I, BK.
Report card time here, Speaks. What do you got?
MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell. I loved your game plan going into this. You knew we needed to start off hot. We needed the momentum with Arrowhead, the fans, the home cook calls they got. We just didn't convert the plays we usually convert. Our players didn't make the plays they usually make to overcome those. But with that being said, we're going to take it on the chin. We're going to come back stronger headed into Tampa Bay. So B for Motor City Dan Campbell. Johnny Moe, I'm going to give you a B as well. You didn't throw it past the sticks enough for me. You didn't get Waymo involved enough for me. The offensive line looked good, so then I'll get right into Hank Fraley. I give you a B+ with all the injuries up front. Scoot and Dan in there. I thought we did a pretty good job. 8 pressures, though. only 1 sack, so I give you a B+. And then Kelvin Shepard, my boy, love everything about you. You're mixing and matching players coming off the street practice squad. I give you a B+ as well. Keep doing your thing. How about you, BK? What do you got?
I'm going Dan Campbell, head coach. I'm going to give him a B-. I thought he was in a very tough spot with all the injuries we're faced with right now. I thought the game plan was pretty good, but it wasn't executed great. So he's going to get a B-
Execution was key.
It was key, and that's, part of practice, but it is what it is. Kelvin Shepard, B. I think he's dealing with a ton of injuries on his side of the ball, too.
You think?
I think, he still held the Chiefs to 30 points, even with some calls not going his way. Doing great shorthanded, so he's going to get a B there for me. John Morton, I'm putting him at a C. I thought the running game was not great this week. I thought the passing was pretty good for the most part, but only scoring 17 points with this type of offense is inexcusable.
You got to balance that backfield out a little bit more.
Exactly, and that sounds like Dan Campbell's trying to get Montgomery more involved. And then Hank Fraley, I got him at a B. Moving in Dan Skipper late from the practice squad to be your starting left tackle is not easy. He had these guys clicking, and they only gave up the 1 sack and 8 pressures. That's pretty good in Arrowhead.
I like it, BK.
All right, Space, let's get into our predictions for this week's game. Prime time matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're hosting them here at Ford Field. 5-1 Tampa, 4-2 Detroit. Big time matchup. Detroit Lions are favored by 4.5 points going into this. I think injuries are playing a factor in that. And then the over-under is set at 52.5. Monday night at 7 p.m. because they're running a 10 o'clock game too.
Diluting the product.
That's what we're getting. But my prediction here speaks. I think it's a tough game for the Lions going in with all these injuries and the Branch suspension. I think you got 2 MVP candidates here with Goff and Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's been playing out of his mind.
He sure has.
We're dealing with a ton of injuries, but so is Tampa Bay. Emeka Egbuka, their star rookie wide receiver, is going to be out.
He's balling out this year.
Yep, he's been playing great. He's going to be out. Chris Godwin, another one of their big-time receivers, is going to be out. I think this is going to be a very close game. Tampa has had our number for the past couple of years. I think it's going to go back and forth. That home field that the Detroit Lions have, I think it plays enough of a factor in a must-win game for us here going into the bye. I think we squeak it out 28-27. What do you got?
Are you ready for some football, Lions fans?
Some Monday night action.
Let's go, baby. Those fans are going to be riled up and ready to go. I really hope Mike Evans doesn't suit up because he's a Lions killer. I say we got the 2 top MVP candidates in Jared Goff and Baker Mayfield. It's going to be a showdown with all the injuries on defense for us, and then they have some injuries on offense, but Baker Mayfield's been able to overcome that. So I think it's going to be a good contest, close game, but I think we come up on top 35-28. My original prediction going into this season was us losing this game, but we don't lose back-to-back games with MCDC at the helm. Let's go, baby.
Getting back on track.
Yes. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Detroit Sports Flow with BK and Speaks, you blue Kool-Aid drinkers. We will be back next week to recap the Monday night showdown with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. You guys have a good night, you filthy animals. Let's hope we see a few of these going our way this week. My goodness. Go Lions. Tigers had a hell of a season. Wings getting started.
Pistons getting going.
Let's go, baby. It's prime time in the D.